Hi, and welcome to the book Refuge. My name is Jen, and today I'm bringing you a book review of Contagion by Erin Bowman. So, Contagion, I heard about this through Jay Kristoff's Instagram because I follow him. He is the author of the Illuminae Files with Amy Kaufman, as well as the Nevernight Chronicle, which I adore. So I decided to take his recommendation for this book, a second half to this book. Sorry, like the light is on it and I just can't handle it right now, but whatever. So how to set this book up. I think it's best if I just read you what it says because it's so good. So it says, after receiving an urgent SOS from a work detail on a distant planet, a skeleton crew is dispatched to perform a standard search and rescue mission. But when the crew arrives, they find an abandoned site littered with rotten food, discarded weapons, and dead bodies. As they try to piece together who or what could have decimated an entire operation, they realize that some things are best left buried and some monsters are only too ready to awaken. So, a few things to say for the non-spoilery of this because I have to get into spoilers. I need to let my spleen be released. I had so many feelings. So, first off, this is set up as kind of a typical... Well, not typical. It was very exciting. There are 7 people that get sent on this rescue mission, ranging from the ages of, there's a scientist who, this crew they were on a research planet doing research for this one company. And so they have a microbiologist and her assistant. And then they had the captain of the team. They had an electrician, a computer person, a pilot, and a security guy. And so that makes up the team of 7. And there's this huge storm that hits the planet that they're on. So they really kind of have to take off last minute and head to this planet. And it's 2 months away from them. So they all go into hypersleep for that 2 months. And then they wake up, and besides that part of it taking 2 months, which obviously they're sleeping, so it's only like a couple pages for us, the rest of the story takes place in 12 hours. And I didn't realize that it was all taking place in one day until, because they're on a planet, they all have oxygen tanks on, and they only have 10 hours of air. And at the end of the book, they're like just running out of air. And I was like, oh crap, this entire intense story takes place in 12 hours. So yeah, like the intro said, they show up on this planet. It's on this planet that's really kind of far out in the system. So here's kind of I posted this on my Instagram. There was a super cool map. So like they were on this one. So each of those rings is a different planet that surrounds the sun, and they get sent way out to this one, and this tiny little planet that was believed to be like uninhabitable, and it is uninhabitable, but they're trying to mine for this certain mineral that's really important to them. And so right away, kind of the setup makes me think a little bit of Illuminae, but I was into it because it's a totally different world. So it didn't feel like copying. It's just kind of the same thing, you know, like the Carenza gets attacked and it's a secret mining thing, but this one isn't illegal. It's just nobody knew that it was out there. But this company was trying to mine this previously like uninhabited planet to see if they could mine there, and they get a distress signal sent to them, and again, that's why this team goes there. So they get there, they get off, and the pilot of the crew, her name is Dylan, and her father is the leader of the group that's already on this planet. So she's all gung-ho to get there and find her dad and make sure he's okay, and they get there and immediately nothing looks right. And they start finding dead bodies littered out. I'm still keeping this non-spoilery. I will warn you, there'll be the big title and everything when we go spoilers. This is still like in the setup. They get there and they find dead bodies with their throats ripped out, with their eyes gouged out, and they're just kind of like littered along the way. And then when they make it into the main part of the space station, they find someone there who had instead of being killed by whatever was killing everybody, he had killed himself. So, and he'd left a note written in his own blood that said, it got in us. Most everyone is dead. Don't trust the kid. And that's what his note said that he left. So everybody is trying to, figure out what's going on. Most of the crew is freaked out and they want to get out of there because the company that had sent them there, they'd sent them because they were the closest. It wasn't because they were the most qualified or anything like that. It's because they were the closest. But they were sending more help that was about a day behind them. So they were just supposed to get there, see if there was any survivors, and then wait for this group to come. Well, Dylan, who's the captain of this crew, she has other ideas about, like, she wants to find her father, and she ends up putting everybody in danger in a big way. And yes, if you stay for the spoilery part, you'll learn more about my feelings about Dylan because they're whatever. But one of the main things for me is in the beginning it was hard to see why this was YA. And not, again, like, I'm not saying anything by that except that only one character in the book is like YA. And like, because the microbiologist, she's 60 years old, the captain, she's 25, like, so everybody's kind of like older except for Thea, and then one other character that we run into as well, who may or may not be the kid that we're not supposed to trust. So anyway, it very quickly turns into kind of a horror / thriller / we're trying to figure out what's going on. It was very exciting. Like, it didn't take long for me to be into the story. It has one of those where, like, it starts with them getting that SOS call and then heading out. And then once they get to the planet, it has that little bit of slow build up. But it was very exciting. But I would put this book on par of, like, being a horror thing. Like, it reminds me a lot of, like, not like a slasher film, but it has, I don't want to give spoilers by saying it, but I feel like if this was a movie, it would kind of be along the lines of, like, I never saw this, but like Prometheus, or like, not Alien, but like one of those where it's like you're in space and things go wrong. And yeah, it was really great. So I want to get into spoilers, but I'll give you my rating. I give this a 4.5 stars. It had, and I'm not saying awful is bad. It hurt. It had an awful cliffhanger. Like, I want to know more. And it was so cute. In Erin Bowman, in her acknowledgement, she's like, I know, that was a mean cliffhanger. I promise to make it up to you in the next book. Which is just so funny. Because, yeah, she's like, I'll wrap things up, I promise. So I was so into it. It was really good. I don't read a lot of, like, thrillers like this. And by that, I mean, like, horror. Because it was kind of horror. I definitely think this would be great for girls or guys. I had such a fun time with it. I finished it in probably, like, 18 hours. And you'll definitely have to check out my reading vlog from when I was reading this. It'll be the one for this last week. Because I was having feelings. So now I'm going to go into some spoilers. Here's my little spoiler warning. Woo! Because I need to talk. So, right, are you gone now? Okay, bye. Okay, so the first thing that I have to talk about is a couple of the characters is what I want to talk about in this spoiler part, to go a little deeper. So, like I said, it becomes clear that Thea is the main character because as people die, it's her who gets, like, she's the one who's, like, living through everything. And it's good because it's not unrealistic either. Like, the adults make stupid decisions. And they're not even, like, that old. Like, besides the doctor who's in her 60s and she's a microbiologist and has been, like, studying things like that for a long time, everyone else is, like, in their 20s. It's not like they're that far removed from her. She's 17 years old. It's not like she's a child. She has an internship with the doctor and she got brought along because she was in the team. And it was just a little frustrating because it's not like she's asking them to trust her with their lives, but she'll notice things and be like, hey, maybe we shouldn't do this, and they do it. And no one is more blamed for this than Dylan Lowe, who is the captain. However, Dylan is awful, and so she is so headstrong in doing what it takes to like find her dad and prove herself that she single-handedly gets at least 3 of the people killed. Directly, her decision gets them killed. Like, they would not be dead if she hadn't made that decision. She's a horrible leader. She's like, I only ended up in this position because my father got me there. And like, in the beginning of the book, you're like, well, she's going to prove that wrong, right? Like, that's going to be like, I didn't get this job because my daddy gave it to me. Like, I deserved it. No. She's literally in that job because her dad gave it to her. And maybe that's to show, like, that does happen sometimes. Not everybody has a heart of gold behind it. Sometimes you're selfish and you're, you know, whatever. But she's one of the last people to die. I told you this was spoilers. And I wanted her to be the first one. I wanted her to be the first one gone because she was such, pardon me, a bitch. She was awful. Every word out of her mouth, she was so mean. She made horrible decisions. Ugh, she was just awful. Like, I can't say that enough. And I mean, this book made me feel things, so I'm not taking points away from the book because I hated Dylan. Like, that was a good thing. Like, it gave me a passion for hating her. And the reason I didn't give this a 5-star was because I'm not saying because science. I'm saying it was very hard to put the pieces together at the end. And when you look back, I find it hard to see where all the pieces were. And I need to read it again. I fully intend to do that. But anyway, that's why I gave it a 4.5 stars. It was so good. It was so good. Another character. So there's a character you meet who at the end of every chapter, there'll be this little piece where there's no title and it just gives you this insight from this person who you find out is the kid that they're not supposed to trust. So as soon as this person comes in contact with them, you're really nervous because you're like, well, this guy said not to trust this kid. So why? Like, is he evil? Did he help kill some people? Is he a mastermind? Like, why don't we trust this kid? And he's a really interesting character. I'll keep that a little bit of a secret because you still don't know if you should trust him up until the end. So, final thing I want to talk about in the spoiler is what this contagion actually is. And I've never seen a sickness / invading force that works quite like this one. So I thought it was fascinating. That's part of the thing that I said is confusing though, is that it was hard to understand it. But then again, it's fantasy. Erin Bowman can make up whatever rules she wants. And I thought it was very interesting. I just didn't quite I didn't get it, but I enjoyed it. And by the end, I was just like, okay, whatever, it's fine. But this disease actually has to do a little bit with what age you are. And so there's a reason why Thea is one of the only people to make it to the end. So, but other than that, I mean, it's a classic, zombie type thing. That's what the contagion turns you into. And it turns you into that to pass it on. It turns them, they're trying to find the next host to pass it to. And so that part of it, like I said, is what reminded me of Illuminae, because in the first novel, the disease that they have, the Phobos virus, also keeps you alive. It makes you crazy and you're still smart. So this disease, especially when you first get it, you're very smart. And so it's pretty scary because they chase you and it's creepy, and it was great. But anyway, I don't know how much sense this review made. I'm sure I'll have a fun time editing it. But basically, I hadn't seen any other reviews out for this yet because it just came out. So I wanted to get my thoughts out there to share with you. But again, I read Contagion by Erin Bowman. I gave it 4.5 stars. Definitely worth the read. It's a straight up thrill ride. It doesn't waste time with there's no real romance stuff going on. There's some things hinted at, like I said. But otherwise it's just, help is light years away. What are we going to do? And it was awesome. I cannot wait for the second one because the cliffhanger, y'all, the cliffhanger. I just can't. Once you read it, we can talk about it. But yeah, thanks for stopping by. Remember, the Book Refuge is always here when you want to feel safe and talk about your feelings and the books that you read. I'm here for you. And yeah, give this video a thumbs up, like it, subscribe, please. Love to talk to you about books and be a part of your book community. So you have a great day and enjoy your books, friends. Bye.